name is Ellen, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Eldest Daughter off of Taylor's The Life of a Showgirl album on the guitar. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you only need to know 5 different chord shapes to play through this entire song, and we're going to start with our A minor 7, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner series right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out right here. The next chord shape is our C major. After that we have our G major. There's also our D major chord. And then last is our E minor chord. And those are the only 5 chord shapes you need to know to play through this song. But really quick, while we're here on chords, I wanted to show you guys something. On our G major chord, this is like the traditional way you would fret a G major chord. But for this song, I actually like to use my ring finger and my middle finger on the top 2 strings like this. And then I'll take the side of my hand here and I'll kind of like curl it around the bottom E string to mute it. So I actually just play the top 5 strings for my G major. And the reason I like to play it this way, you'll see later, I'm going to teach you guys a few little extra tricks that you can do to make this song sound a little cooler, but also it makes for an easier transition because going from our A minor 7 to our C, you just have to add your ring finger. To your G major like this, you just have to move your ring and your middle up. Alright, so again, it's easier transitions, and also it'll leave this first finger available to do some hammer-ons, which I'll show you guys how we'll use that later. So again, totally optional if you want to fret it the way that I'm doing it. Otherwise, you can just play your traditional G for this song. So go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really memorize these chord shapes, as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them, because it'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier for you. And if this is a skill you're currently struggling with, I would recommend checking out my Practice With Me chord transition series on my Forever Faithful channel, because we'll build it up in real time over there. So I'll link that playlist in the corner for those of you who need it. But once you have these chords under your belt, then we can go ahead and talk about the strumming that I would suggest for this song. Alright, so as always, if you are brand new to playing guitar, or you're a guitar Swiftie who likes to sing on top of playing the guitar and you're currently struggling with that, the first thing I would suggest doing is to bring up the song and go ahead and go through the entire thing with just a single down strum on each chord change as you sing the song. And you want to take this time to really get used to what word or what syllable you're on whenever those chords are changing. So here's a quick example of what that would look like. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. Sad as it seems, apathy is hard. Alright, so that's just a really quick example, but you would essentially want to do that for the entire song and just really make sure you know where those chords are going to be changing. This is also a great way to just figure out how the structure of the song is going to be. For example, what we just played there, A minor 7 to C to 2 measures of G, that's going to be like 90% of the song besides the bridge. So by doing this, you would already know that you've got most of the song covered. So again, this is something you can actually do right now. If you check out my Patreon page, I do have this entire guide available to download and print out. So I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box if you're interested. But once you've done this and you're comfortable with where those chord transitions are going to be taking place, then we can go ahead and add to this to create more of a full strumming pattern that you can play for this song. Alright guys, so for strumming today, I do have a 16th note pattern. So if you don't know what that means or how to count that, I would recommend checking out my beginner series because I cover all of that over there. But basically it's going to sound like this. We have 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, a E and 4 and a down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. And what we want to do with this pattern is you're going to play it through 1 time through per chord throughout the entire song. Now remember, we do have 2 measures of G in our little structure there. We have A minor 7 to C to 2 measures of G. So in that case, you would repeat this pattern twice for G, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look here at that first verse. We're starting here on our A minor 7 chord. What you want to do is play through the whole pattern. So we have down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. To your next chord C, same thing, down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. To your G major, and then we're going to do it twice. So we have down, down, up, up, And like I said, that's gonna be most of the song, what we just played right there. So if you're already struggling with keeping up with me with like the coordination of the strumming or the rhythm or anything like that, I also have a Practice With Me strumming series on my Forever Faithful channel, and I do actually go over this exact strumming pattern over there. So if you're already struggling, I would definitely recommend checking it out. I'll link it in the corner. And then once you get a little bit more comfortable with playing it, then come back to this video and add the chords back in. But basically what we want to do is we're going to speed it up just a little bit, and then I'll show you how you can use it to play through most of the song. So we have A minor 7, down, down, up, down, 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 up, C, G. And this is about full tempo right here, okay? Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. Sad as it seems, apathy is hard. Alright, so that's how all of the verses would go. And then when we get to the chorus, again, it's exactly the same on the guitar, only the melody of the singing is changing. But I'm not a bad, this isn't savage, but I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna leave you out. Alright, and that's the chorus there. And again, this exact same strumming pattern can be played through the whole song, including the bridge. So now here in the bridge, the chords are a little bit different, but again, the strumming pattern is exactly the same. So now we're starting on our D chord. We've got down, down, up, down, 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 up to E minor, to C, to G. All right, and that's the bridge. We lie back, beautiful, beautiful time lapse. Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs, and things I said were dumb, 'cause I never thought I'd ever find that. All right, so through the bridge, we're gonna keep this strumming pattern going until the very end of it. At the very end of the bridge, you'll see I have some of these little starred chords. What that means is I would suggest doing a single down strum on these chords. And again, I have all of these marked on the guide that's on my Patreon page. So let's go ahead and look at the end of the bridge. 'Cause I never thought I'd ever find that beautiful, beautiful life that shimmies that innocent light back, like when we were young. All right, a single down strum on the G, and then a single down strum through the rest of this as well. Every youngest child felt they were raised up in the wild, but now you're home. All right. Then when you go into that last chorus / outro section, you would just go straight back to the full strumming pattern till the end of the song. Now really quick, I wanted to go over the second time we play the chorus that leads into the bridge. This is going to be just a little bit different on the very last line there. So looking at that last line, I'm never going to leave you now, now, now. We're starting on our A minor 7 chord. We're going to do a full strum pattern for A minor 7 and C. So we have A minor 7, down, down, up, down, 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 up, C. Now here on this last G chord, we're actually only going to play it for one measure, and this is the only place that I would go to a different strum pattern. On this G chord for the one measure, I would just do all down strums on the 8th note beat. So we'd go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you go straight into the bridge with your D chord, okay? So let me go ahead and play through that section so you can hear how it sounds. Now, now. Alright, so you can see just that one measure on that G chord. I would just do all down strums. If you didn't want to do that, you could just keep this exact pattern going and go straight into the bridge. The only thing is just remember that that last G chord there is only for one measure, whereas for the rest of the song it's been 2. So now you could use this strum pattern to play the entire song right now if you wanted to, but there's something a little extra I wanted to throw in here in case any of you guys want to do it. You don't have to do it at all, and it is a little bit more of an intermediate skill, but I think it sounds so pretty with this song. And that's going to be called a hammer-on. So basically, what is a hammer-on? It's when you take a finger and you start with it off of the string, and then as you strum and let the strings ring out, you're going to hammer or like kind of put your finger back on the fret that it goes on, and it's going to create a sound. So let's go ahead and take a look at our C chord, because this is the first chord I would suggest doing it on. What we're going to do is we're going to play the first two down strums like normal. But here on this first up strum, I'm going to add a little hammer, and that just represents where we want to hammer on our note, okay? So we're looking at our C chord on your index finger. What we're going to do is on the up strum, we're going to start with your index finger off, so you have an open B string, and then you're going to hammer it on to the first fret. All right, this might hurt a little bit if you don't have those calluses built up yet, so just make sure that you have some of those going already. But basically, you want to do this pretty quickly. So if you've never done a hammer-on before, just practice it without the chord and just with your first finger. All right, you're only picking the string once, but you're hearing two notes because your finger is making the second note, okay? So what you want to do is put that in context with the strumming pattern. So we've got the first two down strums with your index finger on, but then you want to take it off and quickly put it back on for that first up strum. All right, so the whole thing, and then the rest of the pattern is the same. So the whole thing sounds like this. We've got down, down, hammer, nothing's changing with the rhythm, we're just adding that hammer on. And then the other chord I would suggest doing this with is your G chord, and this is why in the chord section I told you I like to fret my G chord with my ring and middle finger and mute the top string. The reason I do that is so that my index finger is free to add that hammer-on note again. All right, so it's the exact same note as our C. Our G is the same. All right, and we're gonna add it on in the exact same spot again. So for our first two down strums, we've got our regular G chord. But then on the first up strum, again, we're hammering on that first index finger. All right. But for the G chord, I like to keep my index finger down for the rest of the measure. And so basically how this song is structured is, again, we have our A minor 7 for one measure, C for one measure, and then G for two measures. So I like to add this every other measure. So on our A minor 7 chord, we're gonna play the whole strumming pattern like normal. Down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. Then on our C chord, the second measure, that's when I add my hammer on. Down, down, hammer. Then on our G chord, the first time through, I will play it just like normal. Down, up, down, 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 up. Then on the second time for G, that's when I add my hammer on. Down, down, hammer. All right, so let me show you all of it together so you can hear how the whole phrasing sounds, starting on A minor 7. If you add those hammer-ons, I do think it kind of matches that piano line that you hear in the song. But again, this whole entire section is totally optional. You don't have to do the hammer-on at all. But if you like to do that, I do think it sounds really good with this song, and I will be doing that in my cover here at the end. So again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really look over this strumming rhythm and get used to it, get it under your muscle memory. The big thing about strumming guitar and singing on top of it is to be able to play through all of these rhythms that you might see in these videos without having to count it in your head or think think about it. And the only way to do that is just practice, practice, practice. So again, I would check out my Practice With Me strumming series if you need help with that. One thing I think makes this song stand out on the album is that really pretty piano line. And I think the best way to replicate that is with the picking pattern. And I do have a really simple picking pattern to show you guys. So let's go ahead and talk about that next. All right, guys, so for this picking pattern, I do want to just go over a few quick things before we start. First of all, I will be numbering my strings here. So the low E is 6 and it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 all the way to the high E. So I'll be referring to these strings as numbers for this section of the tutorial. The other thing to mention is your left hand is not going to be doing anything different. We're still going to be holding our regular chord shapes down like we have been with strumming. But the thing is, now we're going to drop our pick and we're going to use our right hand to pick individual strings. So with that being said, I want you to assign some of your fingers to these strings. So your pointer finger and your middle finger should go on the 3rd and 2nd string, the G and the B, and they're not going to move from these two strings, okay? They're always going to be here for the picking pattern. Your thumb is going to cover the root note or the bass note of the chords that we're playing. So your thumb is going to either be on the 5th string or the 6th string, okay? This will make a lot more sense when we start putting our chords back on. So putting our A minor 7 chord on, the bass note here is our 5th A string. All right, so that's where your thumb's gonna be. And the way this picking pattern is gonna work is we're going to pick our index and our middle finger together at the same time, and then follow it up with our thumb. And you're just gonna do that back and forth 4 times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, super simple. And for A minor 7, that's it. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Then for your C major chord, again, your thumb's gonna stay on this 5th string because that's that root or that bass note there. But the picking pattern is going to be a little bit different because like we did with the strumming and the hammer-ons, I do think it sounds really pretty to add hammer-ons in the picking as well. So for C, we're going to do the first 2 beats the same. We're going to pick our middle and our index together, and then our thumb, and we're going to do that twice. And now here, we're going to come back to our 2 fingers, our middle and our index, and we're gonna do another hammer-on here, okay? And it's gonna be exactly the same that we did in the strumming portion. You're gonna start with your C chord with your index finger off, and then as you pick it, you're going to hammer it on to that same note on the B string, all right? And you're just gonna go. And then on the last beat on 4, you're gonna pick these 2 strings again, but this time we're gonna do a pull off. And what that is basically the opposite, right? Earlier we started with this off and then we hammered it on. And now you're gonna pick it again and then pull it off. All right, so that C chord sounds like this. Now, if hammering on and pull-offs and all that stuff is really hard for you, you could just pick it with your fingers on your right hand. So you could go like this. All right. I don't think it sounds quite as smooth like the piano in the original song, but if it's easier for you, totally do that. So what I'm doing there is instead of doing the hammer-on, I'm just playing it 4 times. 1 and 2 and. Okay. But again, if you can do the hammer-on, I think it sounds a little better. So we've got C. All right, and that leads us into our G chord. On the G chord, your thumb's gonna move over here to the low E or 6th string, because that's our bass string there. But again, the first measure, because we're doing G for 2 measures, the first measure, we're just gonna go back and forth like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then on the second measure of G, we're gonna play that like the C where we do the hammer-ons. So that would go 1 and 2 and then on 3, we're gonna hammer on. And then on 4, we're gonna pull off. All right, so that last measure of G sounds like this. So you can hear how it kind of mimics the piano line that we hear. Let's go ahead and put all of these chords together for an entire little phrasing, starting on our A minor 7. 7, and we're going to do this over and over again for the first half of the song until verse 2. So verse 2 is when you can actually hear the guitar come in the original song. So I would keep this picking pattern going for the entire first half of the song, the intro, verse 1, and the first chorus. So let me go ahead and speed it up just a little bit and add some singing so you can hear how it all comes together. A little bit faster, we've got A minor 7 to C, hammer, G. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till then. Every joke's just trolling and means, sad as it seems. Apathy is hard. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. All right, and you would do that for the rest of the verse, and then again bring it into the chorus as well. But I'm not a bad. This isn't savage. I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators. I'm never gonna break that vow. I'm never gonna leave you now. Alright, and you would go all the way through, and then on verse 2, that's when I would come in with the strumming, and we would just carry the strumming through to the very end of the song. Alright guys, so one last time, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to look over this picking pattern. If you are brand new to picking and stuff, I know it can feel really overwhelming to get the coordination of like which fingers go on which strings and things like that. Again, this is just something that takes a little bit of time and practice and patience, so just make sure to pause here and try it out for yourself as slow as you need to go, and ignore the hammer-ons and pull-offs and things like that at first, and then add them back in once you get the basic picking pattern down. But once again, this whole entire section is also just a suggestion. You could totally strum through the whole thing. But once you're comfortable with everything I've taught in this video, the chords, the transition, strumming, picking, all of that stuff, we can go ahead and put it all together to play through the song. 1, 2, ready, go. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and means, sad as it seems. Apathy is hard. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. Want to have fun jamming out to the rest of the song with me? Yeah! Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other Swiftie sing-along guitar tutorials. I've covered so many of her songs from all the different albums and eras, so if you're a Swiftie who loves to play her songs on the guitar, I would definitely recommend checking it out. I will link it in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun and easy to play, so I'll see you over there.